7th, 2019 West Des Moines City Council meeting to order. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, please sign in.
Four members present.
All right, Ryan, any changes to the agenda?
Not necessarily change to the agenda, but item 7B, there was some changes made to that ordinance, and that is before you on the dais.
Okay.
Move approval of the agenda as distributed.
Second.
All right, please vote.
4 yes.
All right, item 2 is citizens forum, which is the time for anyone in the audience that would like to address the city council on any item that's not part of public hearings, item 6, or new business, item 7. All right, seeing no one, I'll move on to mayor, city council, and city manager reports. Jim?
Not this time, Your Honor.
All right, Kevin?
Nothing this time, Your Honor.
Russ?
At this time.
Renee?
Nothing at this time.
All right, Tom?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Okay. I'll have to, second. Re-sign in. John, any council report?
No report, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. Item 4 is consent agenda.
We're in the middle of signing in. We need Renee still.
Okay.
And now we have 5 members present.
All right, item 4 is consent agenda. Are there any items that any council member wants to pull? Otherwise, I'll take a motion for all of them.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Five yes.
Item 5, 5A, Wirtz PUD, 815 South 51st Street, amend plan unit development for PUD parcel C to change land use designation and zoning from office to support commercial. Steak and Shake Iowa LLC. This is an ordinance for the second, third reading, final adoption. There are no changes.
Move approval.
Second.
Questions or comments? All right, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the official zoning map in the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2014 by amending Title IX zoning, Chapter 9, Plan Unit Development District pertaining to PUD district regulations and guidelines.
Move approval, second reading.
Second?
Second.
All right, please vote.
Five yes.
Move waiving the third reading and adopt in final form.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Five yes.
All right, item 6, public hearings, 6A. This is the time and place for a public hearing to consider acceptance of bid for the sale of real property locally known as 8086 South Aurelia Road, Norwalk, Iowa, initiated by the city of West Des Moines. This was continued from the December 26, 2018 City Council agenda. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
December 6, 2018, in the Des Moines Register, and December 13th, 2018, in the North Warren Town and County News.
Have you received any written comments?
None, Your Honor.
All right, now would be the time for anyone in the audience who would like to address the city council on item 6A. All right, seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. This is a resolution to accept the bid and sale of real property, and I believe we had 2 bids, and what's being recommended is the highest bid.
Move approval.
Second.
Questions or comments? All right, please vote.
Five yes.
Item 6B, this is the time and place for a public hearing to consider Raccoon River Basin Segment 5 sewer initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
December 28th, 2018, in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comments?
None, Your Honor.
Right now would be the time for anyone in the audience who would like to address the city council on item 6B. Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. It's a resolution to approve of acquisition of agricultural property.
Move approval.
Second.
Questions or comments? All right, please vote.
Five yes.
Item 7, new business, 7A, Bridgewood Square Plat 1, northwest corner of Bridgewood Boulevard and Jordan Creek Parkway, subdivide property into 3 lots for commercial development, Bridgewood Square LLC. This is a resolution of acceptance of public improvements and approval and release of the final plat, and there are no outstanding issues.
Move approval.
Second.
Questions or comments? All right, please vote.
Five yes.
All right. Item 7B, amendment to City Code Title 7, Public Ways and Property, Chapter 2, Communication Systems Within Public Right-of-Way. Add Article A, Installation and Operation of Small Cell Broadband Infrastructure. City initiated this as an ordinance for the first reading, waiver of the second and third reading, and final adoption because we've got some unique circumstances. And I might, Dick, would you be the appropriate one just to give us an overview of what this is and why we're going about it the way we are?
Sure. This is, the FCC has issued a declaratory judgment or declaratory ruling to make sure that when they install small cell broadband, that all the communications companies are treated equally by cities across the nation. So this is simply kind of imposing those requirements. And it also, they set a timeline by January 14th. If we didn't have something on the record and written guidelines, then we would be preempted and we wouldn't be able to authorize or approve any aesthetic sort of improvements. So that's what this does, and it's just...
Yeah, I mean, based on the information, we really became aware of it on January 3rd, and you have to have an ordinance in place by the 14th. Now, I think the good thing is that once the ordinance is in place, we can come back and make changes to it. So I know this was we kind of rushed through this. We looked at some examples of other jurisdictions have already gone through this. So we had some guidance, but I want to assure everybody that because we want to do all this tonight, we can go back and refine this and amend it as it seems to be fair and appropriate as we move forward, since we really didn't have a lot of time to go through this.
Right, so, but it does establish the record so that we can rely on that, and the companies will have something to base their improvements.
And like I said, I mean, Dick and Jamie, who primarily drafted it, were able to get some other sample ordinances of other communities that have had, for whatever reason, have either been through it before, had standards, or had more advanced notice than we did, so.
I went through it and I read this. I think it's very thorough. I think it does a good job of making sure that we're protecting our investment in our city and all the beautification efforts that we're trying to make and do. And it seems reasonable that we would put something like this in place to make sure that we could have a say over where certain things go. I mean, it talks about, historic neighborhood districts and, I mean, certain ornamental things that, we want things to look a certain way. We also want people to receive adequate cell service. And I think this, at least having this in place, it is very thorough. It does go through and identifies, a lot of different areas that we want to make sure that we have some say or some direction that we can provide to the cell companies in. And I think it will help the cell companies as well, because they will know when they come in what the rules and regulations, kind of what the guidelines are. So I applaud you and Jamie for going through this and refining this to the point that it's at. I do have some questions in some of this, but since we can amend it, I think maybe I'll just talk with you after and maybe suggest if some of these are even needed. They may not be, just some clarifications and some definitions and whatnot.
Okay, and I should add that one of the changes that was made from the ordinance that was in your packet to tonight is that allowed traffic signals to be used for small cells. We took that out of the ordinance. I think it's fair across the board. It doesn't discriminate against anybody. So I know Public Services is not wanting to have their traffic signals used for other purposes. So.
Yeah.
Well, and you might decide, Tom, if there's an appropriate council subcommittee to take this through at one of their next meetings in detail, so that we can at least get 2 council people to do a deep dive in it and raise any questions or concerns, and then bring it back to the full council if you'd like to. So does someone want to move the first reading?
Move consideration of the first reading.
Second.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Well, we've had issues like this come through development and planning a number of times, and I think the reason that I struggle with this is that technology changes, rapidly, as it relates to this particular area, and so I really have always struggled to commit to some, large, new types of, polls or whatever I understand the need for them, but the fact that we can rein it in a little bit, I think is important, because 10 years from now or 5 years from now, this might be a cell tower. So anyway, I'm glad that we can rein it in.
All right, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2014, Title VII, Public Ways and Property by adding Chapter 2A, Installation and Operation of Small Cell Broadband Infrastructure.
Move approval of the first reading.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Five yes.
Move waiving the second and third reading and adopt in final form.
Before we do that, we need to have a motion to waive suspend the city council procedural rule number 36.
Okay, I will move to suspend the council procedural rules and allow to waive the second and third now.
Someone want to second that?
Second.
All right, please vote on that.
Five yes.
Move waiving the second and third reading and adopt in final form.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Five yes.
All right, item 8, there are no items to receive, file, and/or refer. Item 9, other matters. Are there any other matters that any council member would like to raise tonight? Okay, there's no executive session and no workshop, so we're adjourned.